As my hairline recedes and my age increases, there are some things I've learned in this profession which I'd like to share with you so you don't have to make the same mistakes. So these are the things I wish I knew earlier, and more importantly, from a professional standpoint, the things that would have sped up my process to getting to where I am today. Now, as my mother or any school report will tell you, I am a slow learner. I don't pick up things naturally. I also don't listen very well. Or I listen to good advice and then I mull it over for a decade before taking it. So hopefully this will speed things up for you. The big thing is, and this is relevant to everyone watching this and everyone on the internet, aesthetic beats technicality. I cannot tell you how many boring conversations I have with photographers, and I was that photographer, I know, and I apologise to the people before me. How many boring conversations I have about technique, about the new Photoshop technique they've had, about this new lighting setup they've heard about the DxO score of something, about this bit of kit they need to do this. It is such a waste of time, energy, and resources. Nobody cares if your highlights are blown. Nobody cares if you could have got a greater bit depth with a different sensor. It is all completely pointless, and it belongs in photography hobby forums only. It has nothing to do with the commercial world of photography. Now, of course, we need good image quality and good images, but I've got loads of shots on billboards where they're blown out in places. The aesthetic and the message is more important than the technicalities. Always. Don't get bogged down in internet nerds telling you about pointless drivel about tech. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. The next thing, which just really bugs me to say because I say it in almost every video, the kit doesn't matter. As long as you have a 5D Mark II and a decent lens, you've got enough. This here, you can get this setup here, lens and camera, for £500 all in. You probably want a 15 or a 35. But this setup here, you can shoot a worldwide ad campaign on it and you won't know the difference. You won't be short of anything. You won't be missing anything. I wish I knew this. I wish I had the confidence when I started out to go, yeah, this does the job. I don't need to spend another 10 grand. But I didn't, and I did. Whatever you have is good enough. I mean, even take YouTube as an example. If you go to my most viewed videos, they're all shot on the 5D Mark II with a shotgun mic on top, baked straight into like a preset and just chucked online. I'm now shooting these on a 6K RAW video camera with a lovely 1.7 lens. And what's this here? We've got a Rode NTG boom mic and spent like thousands of pounds is looking at me. And I still got more views when I shot with the 5D Mark II. Not because I shot with the 5D Mark II, but because the content was better. I've sadly used all my good ideas, so it's a downward spiral now to channel tanking, but nevertheless, the kit just doesn't matter. 5D Mark II and you're good to go. If you've got a 5D Mark I, yes, you might be lacking in image quality, but the 5D Mark II, or whatever the Nikon equivalent of full frameness at the time was, 700, D700, something like that, it's good enough. You don't need anything more than that. That is enough. Buy two of them, matching bodies. That's what you really need. You need two identical cameras. Don't go and buy one really expensive one and then have a cheap backup. Two identical cameras. That's what you want. I wish I knew that I had to specialise. And this might seem obvious, but you have to have a speciality. There has to be something that only you do. Only I do my style of bold and graphic still life photography. Only I do that. That means when you need me, I am the only option. Sure, there's similar people, but I am me. And that makes marketing myself at a high end so much easier. When I started out, I did a bit of portrait, I did a bit of documentary, did a bit of food, bit of product, bit of this, bit of that. I never made really good money. I made money, for sure. I made a living. You know, I paid my bills, ran my studio. It was fine. But until I specialised and only did what I truly love and what truly resonates with me, that is when my career took off, both financially and also in terms of achievements and career goals. Next up is knowing who is reviewing your work. I get my work reviewed by several places. As simple as my partner reviews my work, my agent reviews my work, art buyers review my work, different people, they review my work. And what you have to understand, and this is what's key, is who it is that's reviewing it and what their motive is. My partner's motive is to make sure I'm happy. I'd imagine. I'd hope. You never know. My agent's motive is to make more money. The art buyer that I'm paying's motive is to make me feel good about myself whilst giving me good information. Everyone has a different motive. Some a-hole on the internet who I've never met, who doesn't work in the same sphere as me giving me feedback, has very little relevance. Somebody telling me that something's not level, something's blown out or whatever, you have to ignore. Now, for a long time, probably the first 5-6 years of my career, I listened to every bit of feedback. Every review I got, I listened to, but you have to review the reviewer. If somebody who shoots locally is telling me what's wrong with my work, I have to go, right, what is their understanding of my world? What is their understanding of photography? Is it relevant information? Now, that's not to say that it's not relevant. Some useful feedback has come from trolls sending horrific comments to me. And I'm quite fortunate that I can block out the personal nature of it and go, that's actually a good point. That does give off that impression. Let's tweak that. But it's important to remember that. Don't just take feedback from an anonymous person on the internet or your friends. Make sure you understand what their motive is. Now, the last bit of advice is making sure you know what your clients want, not what other photographers want. And this kind of links to the previous bit of information. Photographers want images for photographers. Now, anyone in the music scene will know there are musicians. So most musicians will cite particular bands as great inspiration to them, and they probably won't be great big selling bands. Like John Frusciante is a solo artist. A lot of death metal bands cite Radiohead for some bizarre reason. And you'll know us by the Trail of Dead are often picked out as a band that musicians admire, but they don't have mainstream, success apart from Radiohead, obviously. This is the same with photography. You're not looking for mainstream success amongst photographers. You're not looking for tens of thousands of likes. You're looking at showing images that solve the client's problem. And when we talk about clients' problems, it's not like my problem is I need a picture. Coca-Cola's problem is they need people to buy cans of Coke, but cans of Coke are full of sugar. How do we portray this? McDonald's problem might be that their lunchtime sales are down, so how can we portray that we have quick lunch food? Or their breakfast menu is down, how can we portray that McDonald's is a good place to go for breakfast? Burger King might be going, well, we need to compete against McDonald's. How do we show that our burgers are different? Whatever it may be, there's a problem there. How do we get people to know that we now serve coffee in the morning? They're the problems. How do your images answer that problem? What are you doing to fix the problems of your clients? Hopefully some of this information here is of use to you, because it's definitely not of use to me anymore. I now know this. But the problem with information is, if you're like me, you'll hear this, and then 10 years later you'll take heed of it. But hopefully just try and fast forward yourselves a little. Get on it now, save yourself a lot of pain, and focus on what's truly important in this career and profession. Anyway, if you want more information on being a commercial photographer, do hit subscribe. We're doing weekly uploads. It's going pretty swimmingly at the moment in terms of YouTube uploading. I've been on it all year. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.